Let's read on. The underlying philosophy upon which the Robert Miller School is based will be found in the teachings set forth in the books of Alice A. Bailey. Hello? The books of Alice A. Bailey were published originally by Lucifer Publishing Company, which, because of all the flack, they changed to Lucis Trust. Isn't that correct? The school is now certified as a United Nations associated school providing education for international cooperation and peace. Alice A. Bailey claimed, evidence of the growth of human intellect along the needed receptive lines for the preparation of the new age can be seen in the planning of various nations and in the efforts of the United Nations to formulate a world plan. From the very start of this unfoldment, three occult factors have governed the development of all these plans. Within the United Nations is a germ and seed of a great international and meditating reflective group. A group of thinking and informed men and women in whose hands lies the destiny of humanity.
While the UN became the visible institution for accomplishing global political security through the creation of its global one-world government, Rome, on the other hand, enthusiastically put into motion her agenda to unify, through the ecumenical movement, the various Christian denominations and, finally, when the time was right, to lead them and ultimately all faiths back to Mother Rome.
And of course, behind the scenes, always, you have the papacy. And then the churches come together in Assisi in 1986. And at Assisi, all the religions of the world paid homage to the Pope. He became all things to all men, Islam, Hinduism, Zoroastrianism. In 1999, with the Dalai Lama by his side in Rome, 2,000 religious leaders paid homage to him. And they all agreed in condemning who? Christian fundamentalists who abuse speech and whose efforts at converting others incite hatred and violence. All present were in accord on two key points. John Paul II was endorsed by consensus as the planet's chief spiritual overseer, and religious fundamentalists who refuse to go along with the global ecumenical movement are to be silenced. They must be denounced as dangerous extremists full of hate. And then they come and bow down and pay their homage according to the inscription we just read. And the rock band is Italy's band. Music. 3 candles. Masonic ritual. At the Vatican Square. Dalai Lama, the Orthodox, the Muslims, the Eastern religions, sun worship, Zoroastrianism, all of them bowed down to him. Japanese Buddhism, Orthodox. When they do something, they do it well.
The second beast of Revelation 13, the USA, that rose up out of the earth, was rapidly losing its lamb-like qualities. A Protestant nation that had established itself on principles of religious freedom and justice for all was now reaching its hand across the Atlantic to grasp the hand of Rome. That which would have been unthinkable to America's founding fathers was now becoming a reality.
When Protestantism shall stretch her hand across the gulf to grasp the hand of the Roman power, our country shall repudiate every principle of its Constitution as a Protestant and Republican government. Then we may know that the end is near.
When the United States rules the world, the Catholic Church will rule the world. Archbishop Quigley, 1903.
There's that book, Justin Fulton, that great author, right? Washington on the Lap of Rome. It was written about 1888. Washington on the Lap of Rome, written by this great preacher, Justin Fulton. And it shows how he calls it Rome on the Potomac, completely controlled by the Archbishop of Baltimore. There was a secret wire between Baltimore and the White House telling the president what to do, at least since the days of Grover Cleveland.
Ronald Reagan was the one who started off making a deal which started to contravene the Constitution of the United States. Harry Truman tried to do that in 1951. He got such a blast, even from the pulpit of by his own minister, when he wanted to recognize the Vatican, that he dropped it. But Ronald Reagan, no problem. He just did it. One of the earliest goals as president, Reagan says, was to recognize the Vatican as a state and to make them an ally. That's contrary to the American Constitution. So by 1987, Pope John Paul visits the United States. President Reagan meets him and he says, "As you exhort us, we will listen." This is not separation of church and state. For with all our hearts we yearn to make this good land better still. The Pope is quoted as saying, "I come as a friend of America and of all Americans, Catholics, Orthodox, Jews, all men of goodwill."
2,000 years ago, John recorded regarding the second beast of Revelation 13, "And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live." Protestant America, a nation whose founding fathers clearly understood the nature and danger of Rome and who ardently sought to prevent her from gaining ascendancy in North America, would ironically become the very power to finally lead the whole world back to Rome. One of the prime reasons for the existence of America, freedom from papal oppression, would now become that which she would seek to make null and void. Directors of the CIA, justices of the Supreme Court, military leaders and heads of state, now, whether they realized it or not, became the vassals and puppets of a diabolical system that sought only supremacy and freedom for herself alone.
2,400 of his faithful here to welcome him. He's waving to the crowd. Archbishop Regali is alongside the Pope as he shakes hands with the First Lady.
We honor you for helping to lead a revolution of values and spirit in Central Europe and the former Soviet Union, freeing millions to live by conscience, not coercion, and freeing all of us from the constant fear of nuclear war. Your Holiness, on behalf of all of us gathered here today, indeed on behalf of all the people of our beloved nation, we welcome you back to America.